Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Jessica and this is Unite Inside, and we help people unite with all the parts inside of them. This video is going to be literally the example of helping you unite with all the parts inside of you. We will be talking about how to connect to yourself. Connecting to yourself can be a very important tool that you can use to heal yourself. It is very crucial and important for you to know and to learn how to connect to yourself. Why is that? It's because a lot of times you might be experiencing extreme loneliness and experiencing depression, anxiety, all the horrible feelings in the world just because for the simple fact that you don't know how to connect to yourself. Okay? We have to know that we are in a relationship with ourselves. Every day you spend it with yourself, you treat yourself a certain way. You interact with yourself in a certain way. And we have to become aware of the way we treat ourselves, because the way we treat ourselves affects us. Okay? If we treat ourselves with love and with care, we will feel love within us and we will feel cared for by ourselves. But if we treat ourselves with hatred, with judgment, with criticism, with just like shaming ourselves and putting ourselves down and beating ourselves up, this is going to affect you. It is going to affect you. It's basically, at this point, you are in an abusive relationship with yourself. You become, at some point in your life, that living with yourself becomes hard because you have so many demons in your brain that you constantly treat yourself like crap. All the time. Every day you have this harsh judgment on yourself. That living with yourself or being with yourself is so painful, and that's why a lot of people get into relationships for the fact that they want someone to save them from themselves. That's how horrible it can get, that you literally want other people to save you from yourself. But you know what's funny is that because we are in a universe of attraction, we attract people that are very similar to the way we treat ourselves. If we judge ourselves, we attract people that judge us, okay? And so, yes, at first it feels like paradise, it feels beautiful that you have this new person and you feel like you're away from your own demons and your own horrible feelings. But then they start to treat you the same way you treat yourself. And then you're running away from them. You break up with them, or you leave them, or you run away somehow. And then you think, oh, they're no longer good for me. I hate this person. But what about you? Are you good for yourself? Okay, so that's why it's important to become aware of the way we treat ourselves. That's why I have created 6 questions that can help you become aware of what kind of relationship you have with yourself and how do you treat yourself. It's important to become aware of how you treat yourself. Okay, so the first question is going to be, are you hard on yourself? Are you hard on yourself? Or do you tend to be more understanding and more compassionate towards yourself? How do you treat yourself? Do you give yourself time? Do you give yourself a break? Are you compassionate towards yourself? Do you understand your own pains and you understand yourself? Or are you someone that's constantly having these high expectations of yourself, that you're constantly hard on yourself, that you don't understand? You make yourself do so much work and you exhaust yourself, and then you tell yourself that you're nothing and that you didn't accomplish what you need to accomplish. You didn't live up to your own unrealistic expectations. Okay? Do you judge yourself? Are you harsh and hard on yourself in a way of like you don't have any empathy or compassion towards yourself? Okay? You will know the kind of relationship that you have with yourself. You will know if you're hard on yourself. You will know if you're someone that doesn't have a lot of compassion towards themselves. You will know that. Okay? So answer this question. The second question is going to be, what about your needs? Do you care about your needs? Are your needs important for you? Or do you consider other people's needs more important than your own needs? Do you tend to put other people's needs above yours? Are you the last person to meet their needs in your life? Do you meet everybody else's needs and you are the last one to meet your needs. Okay? You will know by answering this question. Okay? Do you think that you are selfish if you prioritize your needs? Okay? In your life. Do you think that if you start with yourself, if you make yourself happy before everybody else, that you're a selfish person? Is this your definition of love, is that you have to be selfless, like completely selfless, that you have to not have any needs and not consider any of your needs before everybody else? Okay, you will know by answering this question. The third question is, do you invalidate yourself? When you have an emotion, when you have a feeling, how do you deal with it? Okay, do you tell yourself you're overreacting, you are dramatic, you are being too much, you're just overreacting, you need to calm down, you need to stop making such a big deal of things? Or do you validate your feelings? Do you know that when you have something that it hurts, something that feels like pain, that it is valid, otherwise you wouldn't have it? Okay? Do you understand that when you have an emotion, when you have a feeling that you're expressing to yourself, that it is coming up because it is valid? It is coming up because it has something important to tell you about yourself. When you feel like you're rejected by other people, it is a feeling that's telling you that you're rejecting yourself. It is always a message. It is always something telling you something about yourself that you're doing with yourself. Okay? It is your feelings are telling you how you're treating yourself in that moment. That's why it's very important to tune into your feelings. So, are you invalidating the very feelings that are showing you how you're supposed to treat yourself? If sadness is coming up, if grief is coming up, it's coming up for you to see it and acknowledge it. It isn't coming up for you to judge it. It isn't coming up for you to tell it that it's not right and that it shouldn't be there. Okay, so how do you treat your feelings? The fourth question is, do you respect your own values and boundaries? Do you tend to easily give up your values, easily change them up, easily not stick by them? Do you not have a lot of integrity when it comes to your values the moment someone disagrees with you? Is it that the moment someone disagrees with you, you tend to just like agree with them, okay, and like to keep the peace, and like you betray your own values easily, okay? This is a self-abandonment way. This is a self-abandonment, you can say like a coping mechanism that protects you from like, you know, when conflicts happens in your relationship, you feel unsafe, and so you protect yourself by giving up on yourself, giving up on something about yourself, which is your values or your boundaries. Do you tend to easily say yes to other people when they want to do something while you tell yourself no? Know that whenever you tell other people yes, you're saying no to yourself. Do you tend to do that to keep the peace? You'll know, okay? You'll know how you treat yourself. And the fifth question is, how do you treat yourself when you're down? When you're having a bad day? Do you beat yourself up? Do you tell yourself, get up and just do this? And do you have like no compassion, no acknowledgement of your own pain when you're down? Do you tend to be patient with yourself and hold space for yourself and let yourself have your emotions and be there while you're going through your emotions? Or what you do is you want to fix yourself. You want to give yourself solutions so that you can change yourself, because you can't be with your pain. Do you push your pain away, or do you love your pain? Do you let it be? Do you respect the fact that it is there and it is telling you, it is calling your attention? Is this what you're doing? Or every time you feel something, you're like, do you love yourself only when you're happy? Only when you're in a good high energy, and you beat yourself up whenever you're sad? And you can't be with yourself when you're sad, and you need to run away from yourself when you're sad somehow? Or do you love yourself unconditionally, that you can even love your own pain? Okay, you will know by answering this question. Okay, so the sixth question and the last question is, how when it comes to your career, when it comes to your, let's say there's a part of your life that could be your career, your purpose, your hobbies, for example. How do you treat yourself when it comes to your performance? Do you give yourself the time to learn and to become your to like become good at something, or do you just judge yourself and tell yourself that you're bad from the start? And do you have so much self-doubt that you don't even give yourself the chance to do it again and again and again? How do you treat yourself? Do you believe in yourself, or do you tend to just tell yourself, oh, I can't do this and I'm just not gonna do it? Do you motivate yourself to do things, or do you just tell yourself that, oh, I'm not someone that can do this? Do you have this self-doubt and self-criticism to the point that you just literally tell yourself straight up that you can't do something, and you don't even let yourself try it to begin with? Okay, you will know by answering this question. Once you answer these questions, you will know the kind of relationship that you have with yourself. Is it a good one? Is it a healthy one? Or is it an abusive, painful relationship with yourself that you constantly want to run away from yourself? You constantly want to be with other people because to protect you from yourself. If you want to end this hell of running away from yourself, I am going to give you 2 steps that you can do to learn to connect with yourself. You have to learn to connect with yourself if you want to have a good relationship with yourself. So the first, going to be the most important step that you have to understand, which is you have to learn to know how to communicate with yourself. A lot of times because we are ourselves, we tend to not develop any communication whatsoever with ourselves. And you need to know that if you want to strengthen your relationship with yourself, or any relationship, you need to learn how to communicate. Imagine if you were in a relationship with someone that you don't communicate with, that you don't know nothing about, that you don't understand, that you don't try to get to know. How are you in a relationship with this person? How is it even a relationship? A lot of times we literally don't even know ourselves because of our lack of communication, of self-communication. So I'm gonna teach you how to interact with yourself the right way. First of all, to interact with yourself, we have to understand that anything that we want to connect to, that when we connect to something, it is always that we have 2 parts, okay? Connection happens when there are 2 parts that get connected, right? Do you agree that whenever you want to connect to someone, there should be someone to connect to, right? So there should be us and the person that we're going to connect to. And that's the problem with ourselves, is that because we are ourselves, it's hard for us to connect to ourselves because we don't know like how to create that kind of connection, because it feels to us that we are one. We are like one person, and so like we don't know how to create like a little bit of a connection to ourselves. I'm going to teach you how to do that right now. This is how to do it. Understand that you are not one person, that you are a lot of coping mechanisms, a lot of parts of you. There is a lot of, you are basically a collection of a lot of things. You're not just yourself. And that's how you can start to connect to yourself, is by understanding first that you are not one person. You are actually a lot of personalities, a lot of things, that a collection of a lot of parts that creates you, okay? So how do you know that? You have the part of you that is your feelings, and then you have your mind, and then you have your body, and then in your emotional system, you have your coping mechanisms. You have the part of you that wants you to be loved, and then you have the part of you that wants freedom, and then you have the part of you that wants to be understood, and then you have the part of you that feels a lot of pain, and then you have a lot of parts that are coexisting together. That's why sometimes we could be against ourselves. We could feel that we are against ourselves. It's because there is a part of us that's against us. Okay? That's like, it's not necessarily against us, but it's like it thinks differently than us. Let me give you an example of different parts inside of you. Okay? I'm gonna give you an example from my own life. When I used to live my life, like when I was digging deeper into healing myself, I discovered that I had a part of me that was very anxious, and so it wanted to keep me up at night because it was very anxious. Basically, this part of me thought that it was protecting me by not letting me sleep at night, by making it hard for me to sleep, because so that it can like be alert. It wanted to be like alert. It wanted to be like attentive to like what's going on in my life, so that while I'm sleeping, it's trying to protect me. But I had another part of me that wanted to sleep, that was so tired that it just wanted to sleep. Okay, and so those two parts were in a little bit of a war. Okay, even though they're both trying to help me, they're inside of me and they're in a war. This part wants to sleep, wants to protect me. This part wants to sleep, and they're like in a war. Okay. So I had to understand that this part is trying to protect me, and I had to interact with it, and I had to heal it and be with it and make it feel safe before I was able to give the other part that wanted to sleep what it wanted. Okay, this is what I did. So another part that I had is I had the part of me that used to give up my boundaries and give up my values so that it can make other people comfortable, so that it can protect me, so that it can protect me from other people hating on me, other people harming me in any way. It was thinking that basically by being agreeable all the time, that that way I'm gonna be protected from other people's negativity, from other people's like I don't know, that people will like me and will leave me alone. But I had another part of me that wanted to respect me. It wanted to keep my boundaries. It wanted to keep my values, and it was so hurt by this part. So this part was so hurt by the part of me that was giving up my boundaries. I could feel it, so much resentment, so much hatred and madness towards this part. It was constantly beating me up. Every time I give up my boundaries, every time I every time I let the other part lead me, the part of me that was giving up my boundaries, the other part jumps up and it starts to beat me up. Why did you do this? Why did you let them say that to you? Why didn't you stand up for yourself? Why didn't you tell them no? Why are you going to keep putting yourself in these bad situations? Are you going to keep becoming a pushover? Are you going to do this? So it's like so much pain in this part. So what I had to do is I had to understand the part of me that's given up my boundaries, given up my values, that it feels so unsafe. It feels so hated. It feels so scared that it cannot. I had to understand it first. I had to give it what it wants. I had to be with myself and love myself, and understand that I don't need other people to love me, and that I had to become a little bit. I had to be like in my frame and understand that I can have a personality. Okay, I can be myself and I can have a personality, and I had to become so in love with myself that I don't care if I lose people. That the most important thing is that I don't lose myself. And because I have that love, and because I give that part that was like giving up my boundaries, because I gave it love, and I gave it compassion, and I gave it I gave it safety. I made it feel safe. It naturally stopped giving up my boundaries, and the other part started feeling better, and all the pain and resentment was being resolved. So this is how you work with your parts that are inside of you. This is how you make yourself feel good. So basically, this is what I did to make the parts inside of me more aligned with each other, more in harmony with each other, okay? And this is what you have to do. You have to understand that there are a lot of parts inside of you going on, and so back to how to connect to yourself and how to create that connection. You have to step back and watch all those parts that you have. You have to step back and watch that there is parts going on. So you have to, I'm gonna give you an exercise that you can do to connect to yourself. It's going to be split yourself. I know that this sounds really scary, but yes, you have to split yourself. Split yourself into the part that watches all the parts inside of you, okay? The part that is aware of everything that's going on. The part that listens, that is there, the presence part, the part that's present with you, okay? This is the part you're going to identify with. This is gonna be you, okay? And the other parts will be other parts inside of you, like the part that judges you to protect you, the anxiety part of you, the depression part of you, the feelings part of you, the mind part of you, and you're going to be the awareness that's aware of all those parts. You're going to be the awareness that's aware of how those parts are interacting. You're basically going to be the leader and the master of these parts. You're not going to let these parts lead you and control your life like what you're doing right now. You're not going to let them just hurt themselves. This part is hurting this part. I explained how that works. You're going to be the one that will hold space for all those parts and help them interact with each other. I'll help them understand each other and love them, okay? How are you going to be the leader of these parts? Is it by criticizing them? Is it by not listening to them? Is it by forcing them to change? Is it by trying to make them become different, or like trying to not listen to them properly and not really like understand them properly, but like just like force them to change or tell them that they need to change? No, if you do that, I promise and I guarantee that those parts are not going to change. They're not going to change because if they don't feel loved, if they don't feel understood by you and acknowledged, they won't change. That's why you can have a problem with yourself. You're trying to motivate yourself and you're trying to make yourself do something, but you can't do it because you haven't talked to that part yet. You haven't interacted with it yet. The part of you that doesn't let you do stuff, that doesn't let you take action, you haven't talked to that part yet. You haven't acknowledged why it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Okay, you haven't healed it. You haven't stayed with it and gave it your compassion. So you're going to be the awareness that listens, that holds space, that connects with all those parts the right way. You're going to look at them as if they're your child, okay? If you had a child that had a problem with something or that is struggling with something, are you gonna just tell them, you need to change, this is wrong, this is what you need to do? No, because is your child gonna feel loved like that? No. So this is how you love yourself, by leading yourself in the right way, okay? By being the master, you're the one observing your thoughts. You're not gonna let your feelings control you and like take over you and let you believe something about yourself that's not true. You're gonna be the one listening to your feelings and holding space for them and trying to understand why are your feelings feeling that way, okay? This needs a lot of patience from your side. This needs a lot of, you have to understand yourself, and you have to like have so much like patience, and you have to practice holding space for these parts, okay, for you to actually heal them. So once you split yourself into two parts, the one that watches the parts inside of you, you are this one, okay? You are the awareness, and you are the one that's like looking and connecting with those parts, okay? I'm gonna give you another exercise that can help you learn how to like create that split between you, which is the awareness, and everything going on inside of you. Okay, so you're gonna look in the mirror, and once you see yourself in the mirror, you have to pretend that you are looking at yourself as if you are not yourself, as if you're just watching yourself being in this world, but you're not really, as if you're like someone else, as if you're your higher self that's looking at you, as if you are this awareness that's just looking at you, okay? And from there, you just look at yourself from that perspective, okay? Just train yourself to have that kind of perspective to begin with, to be able to just see yourself and watch yourself and be the awareness. So once you do that, it can give you a weird sensation of like love towards yourself, of compassion, because you're looking at yourself from that perspective. It will look at yourself as if you're your parent, as if you are your child, okay? So you're looking at yourself and you can talk to yourself. Like, ask yourself questions like, how are you doing today, baby? Act as if you are your own lover, okay? How are you doing today, beautiful? How is your day going? Ask yourself this question, and then switch to the part of you that is your child, the child part of you, and then answer your question. So you're gonna play both roles. You're gonna play the one that's looking at you, and you're gonna play the one that's there, okay? So you are both. This is it can be a scary exercise because you're gonna feel like, oh my God, am I these two? You're gonna feel the connection to yourself. You're gonna feel like you are both of them. You are the one receiving love and you are the one giving love, okay? So this exercise is going to help you give yourself love. The most important thing that you need to learn if you want to heal yourself is to learn to give yourself what you want, the love that you want, the validation that you want, the acknowledgement, and space that you want to heal. And a lot of times we want to get that from other people because we can't give it to ourselves. So this exercise will help you to give it to yourself. So from there, you can give yourself compliments, you can give yourself love, you can tell yourself that you love yourself, that you're okay with yourself, that you are going to embrace yourself today, that you are going to be there for yourself today, that even if you feel down, that you are going to allow yourself to feel down while supporting yourself. Okay, so I hope that this exercise helped you learn how to connect to yourself. I have kind of like smashed 2 steps together in this talk that I was having with you. I kind of smashed 2 steps together. So the first step would be the exercise that I gave you to how to split yourself and how to like connect to yourself from that point. And the second one will be how to interact with different parts of you, and I have explained how to interact with them, how to give every part what it wants. Okay, so I hope that you liked this video. If this video helped you, don't hesitate to share it with people that you know need healing and need to connect to themselves. I love you so much. I promise you that once you learn how to become aware of yourself, you will never feel lonely because you always are connected to yourself. And you will never need anything from anyone else because you will always have love inside of you that you can give to yourself. I love you, and I will see you in the next video.